The first rule of Hollywood that no one tells you. Everything is performance. Even the things that shouldn't be. 5 minutes, Mr. Parker. I nod at the PA without looking up from my phone, where I've been pretending to check emails for the past 10 minutes while actually reading through the latest social media storm about last night's episode. Trillion is trending again, the portmanteau fans created by combining my character's name Tristan with Elliot's character Julian. The show writers never intended for our characters to be romantic, but the chemistry was undeniable from the first screen test. Now the showrunners are leaning into it, giving us more scenes together, more lingering glances, more tension-filled arguments that end with us standing too close. Art imitating life. Or is it the other way around? Enjoying the adoration? A familiar voice breaks through my thoughts as Elliot drops into the chair beside me in the green room, close enough that our knees brush, not close enough that anyone would notice. Just research, I reply, clicking my phone off. Apparently the scene where Julian pulled Tristan out of the burning building means their endgame. Elliot laughs. That rich, uninhibited sound that first caught my attention at the chemistry read 18 months ago, back when we were both relatively unknown actors landing our first major network roles. If they only knew, he murmurs, just low enough that only I can hear. My eyes dart instinctively to the door, checking for eavesdroppers. The green room is empty except for us, but I still feel exposed. I caution quietly. His smile dims slightly. Nobody's here, Liam. Walls have ears in this business. I attempt a light tone, but can hear the tension in my own voice. And eyes, apparently. He slides his own phone across the small table between us. Page 6. Someone got a shot of us at the beach house. My stomach drops as I look at the grainy photo on his screen. It's clearly us, walking on the private stretch of beach outside the Malibu rental where we spent last weekend. We're not touching in the image, not doing anything that couldn't be explained away as two co-stars hanging out, but something about our body language, the way we're turned toward each other, feels intimate. Fuck, I breathe, running a hand through my carefully styled hair. What does the article say? Just speculating on whether the show's heartthrobs are taking method acting to new levels, Elliot answers, his tone deliberately casual. Jane already called me. Jane Winters, my manager. More like my keeper. What did she say? The usual. We need to be more careful. Maybe I should be seen with Mackenzie from marketing at the network party next week. Oh, and she mentioned your contract renewal is being finalized, so, you know. He trails off. The implication's clear. Horizon Studios owns Nightfall, and my 5-year contract with them includes a morality clause straight out of the 1950s. Being gay isn't technically immoral in 2023, but being a leading man who plays straight romantic heroes while secretly dating his male co-star would definitely violate the public image requirements. Mr. Parker, Mr. James, they're ready for you. The same PA is back. Clipboard in hand, professional smile firmly in place. We stand in unison, too accustomed to this dance. Elliot reaches as if to touch my arm, but stops himself, letting his hand fall back to his side. I catch the tiny movement and feel a familiar ache bloom in my chest. Remember, he says as we follow the PA toward the studio, it's just a talk show. Smile, tell the funny story about the night shoot, mention how excited you are about the season finale. Easy. Easy for him to say. Elliot James comes from theater royalty, has an indie film background, and never needed this role the way I did. He's also not the one with a family in Cincinnati who still believes their son is just waiting to meet the right girl. The lights of the talk show set are blinding after the dim corridors backstage. I plaster on my public smile, the one Jane spent hours helping me perfect. The one that magazines have described as brooding yet approachable, and step out into the roar of applause. And here they are, the stars of TV's hottest supernatural drama, Nightfall. Liam Parker and Elliot James. The host, a perky blonde whose name I've already forgotten, greets us with air kisses and exaggerated enthusiasm. We settle onto the couch, not too close, not too far apart, and launch into the familiar performance. So guys, the chemistry between your characters is off the charts this season. Fans can't get enough of Trillion. Did you know that was going to happen when you signed on? Elliot laughs, effortlessly charming. Not at all. When I read for Julian, he was supposed to be Tristan's nemesis. But then Liam and I did our screen test, and something just clicked. It was the writing, I add, sticking to the approved talking points. The show creators gave us such complex characters with this intense history. The audience is really responding to that complexity. Oh, come on, the host teases, leaning forward conspiratorially. You two must be best friends off-screen to create that kind of magic on camera. Elliot glances at me, a split-second look loaded with meaning that probably reads as camaraderie to everyone else. We spend a lot of time together, for sure. Practically live in each other's pockets during filming, I confirm with a practiced laugh. But Elliot has way better taste in music than Tristan would ever give Julian credit for. The audience laughs. The host moves on to questions about the upcoming season finale, and we continue the performance. I tell the approved anecdote about the night shoot where the special effects malfunctioned, soaking us both in fake blood. Elliot mentions how excited he is about his character's arc next season. We both carefully avoid confirming or denying the romantic subplot that fans are desperate for. By the time we're back in the green room, I feel drained the way I always do after these appearances. Elliot immediately drops into a chair, loosening his tie. You okay? He asks, eyes tracking my restless movement around the room. Fine. I checked my phone. 3 missed calls from Jane. Just tired. Liam. Just my name, but in that particular tone that means he knows I'm lying. I sigh, dropping into the chair opposite him. Jane saw the beach photos. She wants to meet ASAP. So, we weren't doing anything wrong. 2 colleagues can't spend time together without it being a scandal? You know it's not that simple. His expression darkens slightly. Actually, it could be exactly that simple if... The door opens, cutting him off mid-sentence. Jane strides in, immaculate as always in a tailored pantsuit, her sleek bob not moving even as she shakes her head in disappointment. Gentlemen, we need to talk. Privately. She looks pointedly at Elliot. Whatever you have to say to Liam, you can say to me. He responds, crossing his arms. Jane's perfectly shaped eyebrows rise fractionally. I don't represent you, Mr. James. I represent Liam, whose contract renewal with Horizon is currently being finalized. A contract worth 7 figures per episode and leading man status for the next 3 years. The numbers hang in the air between us. It's more money than I ever dreamed of making, coming from a middle-class family where my father worked overtime at an insurance company to pay for my acting classes. It's the security my parents always wanted from me, the validation that their support wasn't wasted. 10 minutes, Elliot says, rising from his chair. He squeezes my shoulder as he passes, a brief, seemingly casual touch that nonetheless sends warmth through me. I'll be in the car. As soon as the door closes behind him, Jane's professional veneer cracks slightly. Liam, what are you thinking? Beach houses? Private weekends? You might as well take out a billboard announcing you're sleeping with your co-star. We were careful, I protest weakly. Private beach is secluded property. There is no such thing as privacy in this business. Not for someone playing the next great network heartthrob. She pulls out her tablet, tapping rapidly until she finds what she's looking for. The Horizon executives love you. The test audiences love you. Women aged 18 to 49 are tuning in specifically to watch Tristan Monroe brood intensely and rescue damsels in distress. Julian isn't exactly a damsel, I mutter. Jane ignores this. The contract includes 3 feature films during your hiatuses. Leading man, romantic lead opposite Ava Mitchell in the first one. Do you understand what that means? You're not just on the path to success, Liam. You're on the path to becoming a household name. The kind of career most actors spend decades building. I know she's right. 18 months ago, I was a nobody with a handful of guest spots and commercial credits to my name. Now I'm on billboards. Now teenage girls have my face on their phone cases. Now directors who wouldn't give me the time of day are calling Jane directly. I understand, I say finally. Do you? Because from where I'm standing, you're risking everything for, what? A fling with your co-star? The dismissive way she says it makes something harden inside me. It's not a fling. Jane sighs, her expression softening into something almost maternal. It's the look she used when she first signed me, when she promised she could change my life if I trusted her. Liam, I'm not judging your personal life. What you do behind truly closed doors is your business. But this industry hasn't changed as much as people like to think. Leading men still need to maintain certain illusions. You mean lies? I mean image management. She closes her tablet, fixing me with her stern gaze. The Patterson brothers were supposed to be the faces of the new Sentinel franchise. Then those photos of James Patterson at that club in West Hollywood surfaced, and suddenly they're going in a different creative direction. I remember the story. It had been all over the industry news last year, though the official reason given was scheduling conflicts. That's different. We're not getting photographed in compromising positions? Not yet, but these beach photos are just the beginning if you're not more careful. She places a manicured hand on my arm. Liam, I've guided your career from nothing to something extraordinary in less than 2 years. Trust me on this, at least until the contract is signed and the first season of your renewal is in the can. Then we can reassess. The subtext is clear. Stay closeted, at least for now. Maybe forever. Horizon is sending over a junior executive to the set tomorrow, she continues. Michaela Evans. She's young, single, photogenic. Take her to dinner. Let yourself be seen. Create some distance from the rumors. You want me to beard, I say flatly. I want you to protect your career. Jane stands, gathering her things. The car will take you back to your apartment. Not Elliot's. We'll talk tomorrow after you've had time to think. After she leaves, I sit alone in the green room for several minutes, staring at nothing. The weight of what's being asked of me, what I've already been doing, settles heavily on my shoulders. When I finally make my way to the waiting car, Elliot is there, scrolling through his phone. That bad? He asks as I slide in beside him. Worse. I wait until the privacy glass is up before continuing. They want me to take some executive to dinner tomorrow, create some heterosexual buzz to counter the photos. Elliot's jaw tightens, but he doesn't look surprised. Of course they do. It's just dinner, I say, though the words taste bitter. This time, his voice is tight. Next time it'll be attending some award show together. Then leaked dating rumors. Then maybe a carefully orchestrated public relationship. The scenario is so plausible it makes my stomach turn. Elle, you know this isn't what I want. Do I? He finally turns to look at me fully, his green eyes intense in the dim light of the car. Because sometimes I wonder if you're more afraid of losing this role than you are of losing me. The accusation hits like a physical blow. That's not fair, isn't it? My agent called after Jane did. Told me the same beach photos could actually be good publicity for me. That my artistic integrity and authenticity would appeal to a different demographic. His laugh is hollow. Different worlds, Liam. I get to be authentic, you get to be marketable. I reach for his hand, relief washing through me when he doesn't pull away. I just need time. Once the contract is signed, once the show's renewal is secure, then what? He challenges. You'll suddenly be ready to tell the world that the guy playing their favorite brooding hetero hero likes to sleep with men? That your entire public persona is a construction? Put that way, it sounds impossible. And yet, I don't know, I admit, but I know how I feel about you. His expression softens slightly. I know you do, but at some point, that has to be enough to take a risk. The car pulls up to my apartment building, a luxury high-rise that Horizon subsidizes for its stars. Elliot lives in a converted warehouse loft downtown, all exposed brick and artistic authenticity. Different worlds indeed. Come up? I ask, not ready to be alone with my thoughts. He hesitates, then nods. For a while. Inside my apartment, with its spectacular view of the Los Angeles skyline, we fall into a familiar routine. Elliot orders takeout while I pour us both a drink. We move around each other with the ease of people who have spent countless nights together, who know each other's habits and preferences intimately. Your parents called today? He asks, as we settle onto the couch with our Thai food. I nod, poking at my pad Thai without much appetite. Mom wanted to know if I'm bringing anyone to my cousin's wedding next month. What did you tell her? That I'm too busy with filming. It's not exactly a lie, but it's not the whole truth either. What I didn't tell my mother is that the person I would want to bring is sitting next to me, and that bringing him would upend her entire understanding of who her son is. Elliot is silent for a long moment. You know, my parents asked about you at dinner last week. This surprises me. They did? Wanted to know when you're coming back for another Sunday roast. My dad says you're the only person who truly appreciates his wine collection monologues. A wave of longing washes over me. Dinner with Elliot's family had been one of the most relaxed evenings I'd experienced since Nightfall catapulted us to fame. His parents, a renowned theater director and a literature professor, had treated me not as Liam Parker, TV star, but simply as the man their son was in love with. I liked them, I say inadequately. They liked you too. He sets down his fork, turning to face me. They know about us, Liam. Have from the beginning. And guess what? The world didn't end. No one sold the story to the tabloids. No one judged or rejected us. Your family is different, I point out. They've been in this industry for generations. They live in a bubble of artistic acceptance. So does most of Hollywood, supposedly. He runs a hand through his hair, a gesture of frustration I've come to recognize. Do you think you're the first gay actor to play straight roles? Half the action heroes of the 90s were deeply closeted. The difference is, it's 2023 now. People come out and continue to have careers. Character actors, sure. Indie darlings, absolutely. But name one leading man at my level who came out at the beginning of his career and continued to get the same roles. Elliot falls silent, because we both know the answer. There are successful gay actors, but most either came out after establishing themselves or take roles that don't rely on heterosexual romantic appeal. The double standard is alive and well, even in supposedly progressive Hollywood. I'm scared, I admit finally, the words barely audible. Not just of losing the career, but of disappointing everyone. My parents, who sacrificed everything for me to have this chance. The fans, who think they know who I am. The studio, who took a risk on an unknown. Elliot moves closer, his hand finding mine. And what about disappointing yourself? Living a half-life, always hiding, never being able to stand in your truth. Maybe that's the price of success in this business. It shouldn't be, he says fiercely. And it doesn't have to be. We don't resolve anything that night. Eventually, the conversation shifts to safer topics, the upcoming scenes we're filming, a script Elliot is considering for the hiatus, the new restaurant downtown we want to try. We fall asleep tangled together in my king-size bed, and for a few hours everything feels simple. But morning brings reality crashing back. Elliot has an early call time, so he leaves before dawn with a quick kiss and a promise to talk later. I drift back to sleep only to be awakened by my phone buzzing insistently. Jane, of course, confirming that Michaela Evans will be on set today and that I should make myself available for dinner plans. There's also a message from the showrunner about a script change for next week's episode. Apparently, network executives want to tone down a scene between Tristan and Julian that might read as too intimate. By the time I arrive on set, I'm already exhausted, the weight of performance settling around me like a too heavy coat. The makeup team works their magic, transforming my tired eyes and tension headache into Tristan Monroe's brooding intensity. The costume department fits me into his signature dark jeans and leather jacket. By the time I step onto the cemetery set for our first scene, I've disappeared entirely into character. Elliot is already there, sitting on a prop tombstone reviewing his lines. He looks up as I approach, and something in his expression shifts, a subtle change that probably only I would notice. Problem? I ask quietly, taking the seat next to him. Script changes, he murmurs. They've cut the part where Julian grabs Tristan's hand. I heard. I glance around, noting the network executives hovering at the edge of the set, watching us. Jane says the beach photos are making them nervous. Elliot's laugh is bitter. Heaven forbid two male characters share a moment of genuine human connection. Before I can respond, the director calls us to our marks. We move through the scene mechanically, Tristan confronting Julian about his betrayal, Julian revealing the complicated reasons behind his actions, the two characters moving from antagonism to reluctant understanding. It's a pivotal moment in their relationship, but without the physical contact that was originally scripted, it feels hollow, incomplete. Cut, the director calls after our third take. Something's off. I'm not feeling the connection. Because they literally cut the connection, I want to say. Instead, I nod professionally, waiting for notes. Liam, you're holding back too much. Tristan is angry, yes, but there's an undercurrent of relief that Julian is alive. And Elliot, Julian needs to be more vulnerable here. He's admitting he made a terrible choice to protect someone he cares about. We try again and again, but the chemistry that usually flows so effortlessly between us feels forced, constrained by the invisible boundaries being erected around us. After the fifth take, there's a commotion at the edge of the set. A young woman in a sleek pantsuit is being escorted over by a production assistant. Michaela Evans, I presume, right on schedule. Let's take 20, the director calls, clearly frustrated. Reset and we'll try a different angle. As we step away from our marks, the PA approaches with Michaela in tow. Mr. Parker, Ms. Evans from Horizon Studios would like to meet you. She's pretty in a polished corporate way, with a practiced smile that doesn't quite reach her eyes. Liam, such a pleasure. I'm a huge fan of the show. Thanks, I respond automatically, extending my hand. Always nice to meet folks from the studio. Elliot watches this exchange with a carefully neutral expression before excusing himself to get coffee. Michaela immediately launches into a monologue about how excited the studio is about the upcoming season finale and my contract renewal. I nod in all the right places, playing my part perfectly. I was hoping we could continue this conversation over dinner, she says eventually. There are some aspects of the contract I'd love to discuss in a more relaxed setting. The subtext is clear, especially when she brushes her hand against my arm and smiles up at me through mascara-coated lashes. This isn't just about business, it's about setting up the narrative Jane wants. Dinner would be great, I hear myself say, the words tasting like ash. I know a place in West Hollywood that's fairly private. Perfect. I'll have my assistant text your team on the details. She gives my arm a final squeeze before being called away by another executive. When I turn around, Elliot is standing a few feet away, 2 coffee cups in hand. From his expression, I know he overheard everything. I begin, but he cuts me off by pushing one of the coffees into my hand. Black, 2 sugars, he says, his voice deliberately light. We're back on in 5. The rest of the day passes in a blur of reshoots, script adjustments, and pointed looks from network executives. By the time we wrap, I'm emotionally drained, caught between the character I play on screen, the persona I maintain off screen, and the person I actually am when no one is watching. Ellie and I barely speak as we head to our separate trailers to change. As I'm gathering my things to leave, there's a knock on my door. Come in, I call, expecting the PA with my call time for tomorrow. Instead, it's Elliot, changed back into his own clothes, effortlessly stylish in a way that's distinctly him, not Julian. He closes the door behind him, leaning against it. So, dinner with Michaela, he says without preamble. It's not what you think, isn't it? He crosses his arms. Because from where I'm standing, it looks exactly like what Jane suggested. Create some heterosexual buzz, distract from the rumors, protect your precious image. His words sting because they're true. It's just dinner, I say weakly. This time. He pushes away from the door, moving further into the trailer. I've been thinking all day about what this means, about where we're headed. Something in his tone makes my stomach drop. And I can't do this anymore, Liam. His voice cracks slightly, the first sign that this is affecting him as deeply as it is me. I can't watch you build your career on a foundation of lies. I can't pretend to be just your colleague during the day and your secret lover at night. I can't sit back while you take some woman to dinner to convince the world you're something you're not. It's temporary, I insist, panic rising in my chest. Just until the contract is signed, until the show is renewed. And then what? He challenges. Another excuse, another delay? Just until the first feature film is released. Just until I'm established enough. Just until my parents are ready. I have no answer because deep down, I know he's right. There will always be another reason to maintain the charade, another milestone to reach before I can be honest. Elliot's expression softens and he steps closer, close enough that I can see the flecks of gold in his green eyes. I love you, Liam. I think I have since that first screen test, when you fumbled your lines and still somehow made the scene better than it was written. I love you too, I whisper, the words coming easily despite everything. I know you do. He reaches up, his hand cupping my cheek in a gesture so tender it makes my heart ache. But I can't love parts of you while you hide the rest from the world. I can't be your secret shame, the thing you're afraid will ruin everything good in your life. You're not. I am, he interrupts gently. As long as you're living this double life, as long as you're agreeing to fake dates and script changes and carefully managed public appearances, I'm the secret that could destroy everything. And I can't bear that weight anymore. The realization of what he's saying hits me like a physical blow. You're breaking up with me. He takes a deep breath, his hand falling away from my face. I'm giving you space to figure out what you really want. Who you really want to be. I want you, I say desperately, reaching for him. I've never been more certain of anything. But you also want the career, the contract, the approval. And right now, you believe you can't have both. He steps back, creating physical distance that feels like a chasm opening between us. Maybe you're right. Maybe the industry isn't ready for Liam Parker, leading man who happens to love another man. Or maybe you're underestimating your own worth, your own talent, and the changes happening in this business. I want to argue, to convince him that we can find a way through this, but the words stick in my throat. Because what can I promise him? That I'll come out tomorrow? That I'll risk everything we've both worked for? That I'll disappoint my family, my fans, the studio that took a chance on me? I have to go, he says into the silence. Early call tomorrow. We're shooting the dream sequence. The dream sequence, where Julian imagines a different life, one where he and Tristan met under normal circumstances without supernatural threats and ancient curses. It's the closest the show has come to acknowledging the subtext between our characters. Elliot, please, I begin, not even sure what I'm asking for. I don't fear exposing myself, Liam. I fear losing you, he says quietly. But I think I'm losing you anyway to the version of yourself you've created for everyone else. With that, he leaves, the door closing softly behind him. I stand frozen in my trailer, surrounded by the trappings of my new life, designer clothes, luxury products sent by sponsors, scripts for potential projects, and feel utterly hollow. My phone buzzes. A text from Jane. Car, waiting to take you to dinner. Reservation at 8. Wear the blue shirt, brings out your eyes. Another performance. Another mask. Another piece of the life I've been building. The life that's supposed to bring me everything I've ever wanted. Except the one thing I truly need. I stare at the phone for a long moment, thinking about choices and consequences, about performance and authenticity, about what success really means. Then I start typing a response that could change everything. Because maybe Elliot is right. Maybe I've been underestimating myself, my talent, my worth beyond the carefully constructed image. Maybe there's a way to be both Liam Parker, rising star, and Liam Parker, the man who loves Elliot James. Or maybe there isn't. Maybe this really is the price of the career I've dreamed of. Maybe I'll lose everything if I choose honesty over image. But as I finished typing my response to Jane, I realized there's one thing I know with absolute certainty. If I lose Elliot, I've already lost the most important part of myself. And no contract, no matter how many zeros it contains, can possibly make up for that. I can't make dinner tonight, I type. Or any night. We need to talk about my contract and what I'm really willing to sacrifice for it. I hit send before I can change my mind, then reach for my jacket. I have a dream sequence to prepare for, and for the first time since this all began, I want to make sure that what happens on screen reflects something genuine, something real, something worth fighting for.